You know that feeling, that knot in your stomach when you even think about checking your bank balance.
Oh, yeah. Or when a bill reminder pops up. That little wave of, well, maybe not panic, but definitely unease.
Exactly. We've all been there. And if that feeling is pretty constant for you when it comes to money, you're definitely in the right place today.
Mm.
This is actually the first part of a 3-part deep dive we're doing on overcoming the fear of money. Think of this one as the beginner's guide.
Right. We're starting at square one.
Yeah, we want to unpack that that overwhelming worry that a lot of people feel, around budgets, bills, even just trying to save something.
And it's interesting, isn't it, how widespread that feeling is, that sort of anxiety grip when you have to deal with the actual mechanics of your finances.
Totally.
Now, there's fancy term chromatophobia, but really, for beginners, what it often comes down to is just feeling lost, like you're trying to navigate something super important without a map or even a compass.
Yeah, that's a great way to put it. So our goal today is pretty straightforward. We want to understand why this fear feels so huge when you're just starting.
And then give you some simple first steps.
Exactly. Some really practical things you can actually start doing, like today, to feel a bit more in control.
It really is like stepping into a thick fog, isn't it? You know you need to go forward, but you can't really see the path. Every step feels kind of risky.
That's money for a lot of beginners. And a big part of that fog is just, well, not knowing things.
The knowledge gap. Yeah.
You hear these terms, interest rates, emergency funds, and you can feel like this secret language everyone else magically understands.
That lack of familiarity is a huge barrier. It's like trying to build, I don't know, IKEA furniture without the instructions. It's just frustrating.
And you know you're going to mess it up somehow.
Right. And that feeds directly into the second big fear. The fear of making mistakes.
Oh, that one's intense.
Yeah.
The worry about doing the wrong thing. Will I end up with loads of debt? Did I pick the worst savings account ever? The stakes feel really high.
They do. And then you layer on top of that all the societal pressure, this kind of idea that you're either a financial success or a total failure.
Yeah, like there's no middle ground.
Exactly. And that can lead to feeling judged or ashamed, even if nobody's actually saying anything. It's this weird unspoken scorecard.
Which makes people clam up, right? They don't talk about their money worries.
Making them feel even more alone. And this anxiety, it's not just a feeling. It has real consequences. You see people just avoiding their finances completely.
Like literally not looking at their bank statements, letting bills pile up.
Which, only makes the actual problem worse down the line.
Absolutely. So it's not just about the pounds and pence or dollars and cents. For beginners, this fear feels really personal, like you said, powerless, like you're just being swept along by something you can't grasp.
And if we dig into why beginners feel this so strongly, well, a huge piece is the lack of formal education. I mean, think back to school. Did anyone actually teach you how to budget?
Nope.
Or understand taxes properly? Or even the absolute basics of investing?
Not a chance. It's kind of wild when you think about it. We're just sort of expected to figure out this massively important life skill on our own.
Right. So you become an adult and suddenly, bam, you're hit with all these complex decisions, saving, spending, choosing between like 50 different banking apps and investment platforms.
It's overwhelming, like being thrown in the deep end without knowing how to tread water.
The sheer number of choices alone can be paralyzing. It's like that giant menu in some restaurants. Where do you even begin?
Yeah.
And then you have to consider the stuff we picked up earlier in life, those ingrained beliefs about money. Maybe you heard things like, money's the root of all evil, or constantly heard, we can't afford that, in a way that just screamed scarcity.
Or even just internalizing, I'm bad with numbers.
Exactly. Those messages, they stick. They can shape your whole attitude without you even realizing it.
And then the stakes feel even higher because financial mistakes have actual real-world consequences, don't they?
Oh, absolutely. A late fee might seem small, but it feels like a failure. A dip in your credit score can affect bigger things later. Losing savings is genuinely frightening.
So it puts all this pressure on every single decision you make.
Precisely. The perceived risk for beginners feels enormous, and that just cranks up the fear dial. And the really crucial thing here is that this fear can stop people cold. It prevents them from even starting the journey.
Okay. So we've laid out the problem, the why. It makes a lot of sense. Now let's shift gears. What can people actually do? Let's talk practical steps for beginners to, start pushing back against that fear.
Right. And the absolute key, I think, is to start small, really small.
Yeah.
You don't need to become a financial wizard overnight.
Okay. So no tackling like cryptocurrency on day one.
Definitely not.
Yeah.
The best place to begin is with the absolute bedrock, budgeting.
Budgeting. Okay. That word itself can sound a bit scary or like really restrictive, but it doesn't have to be, right?
Not at all. At its heart, a budget is just a plan. It's about understanding where your money comes from and where it's going. That's it. Awareness.
Like a roadmap you said earlier, just seeing the landscape.
Exactly. It helps you see where your money is actually being spent so you can make more conscious choices. And the good news is you don't have to do it with like a dusty old ledger book anymore.
Thank goodness.
There are some really great user-friendly apps out there now. Things like Mint or Pocket Guard, maybe YNAB. They can connect to your accounts, track spending automatically, and just give you a clear picture without tons of effort.
That automation can make a huge difference, just lowering the barrier to getting started. Okay, so step one, start simple with a budget, maybe use an app. Got it. What's next?
Step 2 is more about your mindset. It's about actively working to reframe how you see money.
Okay, how do you mean?
Well, instead of seeing it as this big, scary, complicated thing that causes anxiety, try to consciously shift your perspective. See it as a tool. Yeah, a tool that helps you get things you want or need. Whether that's, saving for a holiday, feeling more secure day to day, or working towards a bigger goal like owning a home eventually.
Right. So connecting it to your actual life goals, not just the fear.
Exactly. Link it to the positive things it enables. And alongside that, try to catch that negative self-talk. That little voice saying, I'll never get this, or I'm just terrible with money.
Yeah, that voice can be loud.
Try to replace it. Sounds a bit cheesy maybe, but actively replace it with something more like, okay, I'm learning this, or I'm figuring out how to make money work for me. That small mental shift can really start to lower the background hum of anxiety over time.
It's like training a muscle, almost. Okay, so budgeting, reframing money as a tool, challenging negative thoughts. What's step 3?
Step 3 is finding simple, accessible ways to learn more. But again, keep it simple. You don't need a PhD in economics.
Right. So where should they look? It feels like there's so much information out there.
There is, which can be overwhelming in itself. But focus on resources designed for beginners. There are some excellent books out there. I Will Teach You to Be Rich by Rohit Sethi is one people often recommend because it's very practical, very step-by-step.
Okay, a book recommendation, that's helpful.
And YouTube is amazing for this too. Channels like Money to the Masses in the UK, or similar ones depending on where you are, often break down topics really clearly without jargon. Find someone whose communication style clicks with you.
And it doesn't always have to be experts or books, right? What about just talking to people?
Absolutely. If you have a friend or family member who seems to have a good handle on their finances and you feel comfortable, ask them. Ask them how they learned or what resources they found helpful.
Yeah, sometimes a real conversation is less intimidating than a textbook.
Definitely. Just hearing someone else's journey can be really reassuring. The main point here is you are not alone in figuring this stuff out. Don't feel like you have to do it in isolation.
That's huge. Okay, so budget simply, reframe your mindset, find easy resources, maybe talk to a friend. What's the 4th step for beginners?
The 4th one, and this is really important, is to accept that you will make mistakes. And that's okay.
Oof. That's a hard one sometimes. It feels bad to mess up with money.
It does. But honestly, nobody gets everything perfect right out of the gate. Personal finance is complex. You might overspend 1 month. You might pick a savings account that, in hindsight, wasn't the absolute best rate. It happens.
So don't beat yourself up about it.
Exactly. Try to see those moments not as failures, but as learning opportunities. Okay, that didn't work. What can I do differently next time? That's how you actually improve.
Right. And maybe flip it around too.
How do you mean?
Like focus on the small wins.
Yes, yeah, absolutely. Celebrate the small victories. Did you stick to your budget for a week? Awesome. Did you pay a bill before the due date? Great. Did you manage to put aside even a tiny amount into savings? Fantastic.
Acknowledging those positives builds momentum.
Precisely. It builds confidence, reinforces good habits, and helps shift your focus from the fear to the progress you're making, however small it seems.
Okay, this feels like a really solid starting point. So just to recap for everyone listening, especially if you're feeling that beginner's anxiety, this fear of money is super common.
It often comes from not having the knowledge, feeling totally swamped by all the options and jargon, and being genuinely afraid of the consequences of messing up.
But it doesn't have to hold you back forever. We talk about 4 concrete steps you can start with.
Yeah. Number 1, start small, focus on a simple budget, maybe use an app. Number 2, consciously reframe money as a tool for your goals, not just a source of stress.
Number 3, find easy to understand resources, books, YouTube, maybe a knowledgeable friend. Remember, you're not alone.
And number 4, accept that mistakes are part of learning. Learn from them. And really importantly, celebrate those small wins along the way.
Right. So we want to leave you with a little challenge, maybe, just for this week. Pick one tiny thing from that list.
Just one. Maybe it's downloading one of those budgeting apps and just exploring it for 10 minutes. No pressure to do anything else.
Or finding one short article or video about, say, what an emergency fund is. That's it. Just one small step.
You really can do this. You've got this.
And remember, this is just part 1. We really hope you'll join us for part 2, the intermediate guide.
Yeah, next time we'll build on these basics. We'll get into more strategic stuff like setting clear savings goals, understanding the fundamentals of investing, nothing too scary, and really starting to make your money work a bit harder for you.
It's about moving from just feeling like you're surviving financially to actually starting to thrive and build real confidence.
Exactly. Taking that next step up.
So definitely tune in for that. But between now and then, maybe just mull this over. What is that one small, concrete action you can commit to doing this week just to begin shifting your relationship with money, even just a tiny bit?
Think about it. Pick one thing.
We'll catch you on the next deep dive.